Hey everyone, Teo here. Today I'm comparing the drawing experience of the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro versus the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 series tablets, and I am outside the Temple for the Goddess of Mercy here in Singapore to sketch this neighborhood. This is a very popular place here in Singapore for the residents as well as tourists, so you will always see plenty of tourists taking photos in front of the temple. And these are the stalls selling flowers that people can buy, and they can offer the flowers to the Goddess of Mercy who is somewhere inside the temple. This video is not an in-depth comparison review for the two tablets. Instead, I'll just be talking about the features that matter to artists. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the two displays with the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro on the left and the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra on the right. So even though the Xiaomi tablet has maximum brightness up to 700 nits, you can see that it's not as bright compared to the OLED display on the Samsung, which has brightness only up to 420 nits. So the extra contrast from the OLED display really helps make the colors look more vibrant and seem brighter. And as you can see, both displays are really glossy, very reflective, because there is no anti-reflective coating on both displays. Aspect ratio for the Xiaomi tablet is 3:2, which is what I prefer because this is, to me, more usable in both landscape and portrait orientation. As for the Tab S9 tablet, the aspect ratio is 16:10. For the Ultra model, this aspect ratio is alright because there is a lot of space. However, if you are using the 12.4-inch or the 11-inch Tab S9 tablets, the narrow aspect ratio will make a difference. There is obviously a size difference here, but the main thing you have to note is the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro is only available in this size, 12.4-inch, whereas the Tab S9 series tablets are available in three sizes: 11-inch, 12.4 and 14.6, which is the one that I have here. Right now I'm under the shade, and the visual quality of the LCD display on the left is quite similar to the OLED on the right. Now both displays have high refresh rate. So for the Xiaomi tablet, it's up to 144 Hz. For the Samsung tablets, it's up to 120 Hz. I've just adjusted my camera settings to show the pulse wave modulation on the Samsung OLED display. I personally do not see the flickering in the real world, but people with sensitive eyes may be affected by the pulse wave modulation or PWM flickering. Now on the LCD display, there is no flickering. It's going to be awkward for me to sketch like this because the tablet is tilted upright, and I have to do this because if I do this, you won't be able to see what's on the display. So the app that I am using is Medibank Paint, because this will save the artwork to the cloud, and later when I use the Samsung tablet, I can just retrieve the same file and work on it. So for the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro, there should be 8 gigs of RAM, and on the Samsung tablet there is 8 to 12 gigs of RAM, or 16 if I remember correctly. Yeah, anyway, RAM is not an issue. Android tablets nowadays have lots of RAM. The pen, this pen is the Xiaomi Focus Pen, which only works with the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro at the time of making this review. So I'm not sure if the older Xiaomi Smart Pen 1 or 2 can be used with this tablet. Probably not. So this pen is sold separately and can attach to the top here for charging and for pairing. So this pen actually requires battery to work. The pen is very smooth on the glass surface, on the glossy glass surface. The Samsung pen has more resistance because of the soft rubber nib. My very sticky hands, my sweaty and sticky hands are now sticking onto the tablet, and later on there will be plenty of fingerprint smudgers, unfortunately. So it's going to take some time to get used to drawing with such a smooth pen tip on the glass surface. At least with the Samsung tablets, you have the option to buy alternative pens or pen tips, because the Samsung S Pen actually uses Wacom EMR, and there are many Wacom EMR pens out there that you can choose from. And there are many tip options as well, so if you don't like the original soft pen tip with the Samsung tablet, you can always buy the plastic tip or even metal tips if you're not afraid of metal scratching the display. For the Xiaomi Pen, unfortunately, at the time of making this video, I do not see any replacement pen tips available for sale yet. I don't expect the pen tip to wear off that fast, but replacement pen tips is going to be difficult to find. The pressure sensitivity is excellent. The pressure sensitivity is as good as the Samsung S Pen and the Apple Pencil. Yes, you heard it right. It is as good. The pressure sensitivity is as good as the Apple Pencil. It's just that this pen does not support tilt sensitivity. And I use tilt brushes quite often. But for this app, Millibank Paint, this app does not support any tilt brushes, so it works fine with pressure sensitivity. I don't really have any issues with palm rejection. And there is no cursor misalignment, so the cursor tracking is quite accurate. The line will always appear where I want it to be, and when I join lines, there is no overshooting or leaving gaps. So that's the same as the Samsung S Pen. In my full artist review for the pen, I mentioned there was some disconnection issues. In the comment section, people said that this flap here, this magnetic case here and the flap behind, let me just show you this. Yeah. So the magnets for this were actually interfering with the Bluetooth of the pen. So that's why there were disconnection issues. But so far since that day, I haven't been experiencing disconnection issues for the past week. So the main difference between the drawing experience with this pen versus the Samsung pen really comes down to whether you need tilt sensitivity or not. Because as I'm drawing this, I really feel like this pen is very sensitive, very accurate with the pressure response. As in, this is how thick the brush is, and I can just draw thin lines very easily with the pen tip just glancing on the display. So this means you can draw thin and thick lines very easily just by varying the pressure. You don't have to manually change the brush size constantly. Let me just switch over to the Samsung tablet. So now I'm using the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra, and this display is massive. Now for outdoor sketching purposes, I would prefer to use a smaller display. So my main tablet for sketching outdoors is actually the 11-inch iPad Pro, because it is small. With a big tablet like 12.4 or 14.6 inch, I cannot stand and hold the tablet while sketching. Yeah, so I have to basically do what I do now. Put the tablet on the lap for the 12.4 inch and also for the 14.6 inch. There's no way for me to hold this tablet to sketch while standing. Yeah, it's just too heavy and the tablet is too big, so it's quite unwieldy. The original pen tip is soft, so this has more resistance on glass. Even though my sketch is very sketchy, but this actually has more resistance on the glass. So when you're drawing with more care at home, you will definitely get more control. If you switch to a plastic pen tip, then the pen tip is going to glide more smoothly on the display. The plastic tip is actually better for writing, but for drawing most artists will prefer to have more resistance. I'm quite familiar with this app, so I can work pretty fast. And there are many wonderful drawing apps available on the Google Play Store. And Google Play Store is available on the Xiaomi tablet as well. So one thing I noticed here is, notice how the lines for the S Pen are thicker compared to the Xiaomi Pen. So for the Xiaomi Pen, I was drawing with minimal pressure, and right now I'm drawing with the same amount of pressure. It's just that this pen, it makes the lines thicker. And different pens will actually have different performance with regards to pressure sensitivity. So let me switch over to using the Samsung S Pen Creator Edition to see if there is any difference. So this has a hard plastic tip, so this is gonna be smoother. I can see that this pen is actually more sensitive. Yeah, so it's easier for me to draw the thin lines more easily. Let me switch over to using the pen again. Yeah, so this pen with the soft nib produces thicker lines. And this pen with the plastic nib produces thinner lines, even though I am using the same amount of pressure. I had to switch to a different sketching location because the sun was on top of me already. And hopefully I can get more sketching done here under the shade, under this new location. So this pen, the difference between this pen versus the original Samsung S Pen is this pen has better tilt performance because the pen, the front of the pen here is tapered so that you can tilt the pen more easily to get the tilt brushes to work properly. So that's one main downside for the original S Pen, and for the Xiaomi Focus Pen there is no tilt, so you don't have to worry about that. So this pen definitely is more sensitive, but I wouldn't recommend you buy this pen because it's expensive. You can just get the Lamy AL Star or the Norris Digital, which have rather similar performance as well. So that's the one nice thing about Wacom EMR. You can use third-party pens. Okay, I still feel like the Xiaomi pen has better, even better sensitivity compared to this pen. Yeah, it's quite amazing. I think Xiaomi, they did a pretty good job with the new pen, except there is no tilt sensitivity. And the problem with the lack of tilt is when you are using tilt brushes, some of the tilt brushes will not work properly, even if you're just using pressure for that tilt brush. Because some brushes can work with pressure and tilt, but if tilt is not working, then the pressure for some reason also doesn't work. Yeah. So that's one downside. Yeah. So this display definitely has way better brightness in the real world compared to 700 nits, up to 700 nits by the way. So even though this is only 400 nits, 420 nits, this still looks brighter compared, significantly brighter compared to the Xiaomi Pad 6S Pro. But if you are just working at home, then there really isn't much difference between LCD and OLED. A good LCD, I know people will say that OLED is superior, but the thing is, a good LCD can still look great. And LCD on the Xiaomi tablet is a great looking LCD when used indoors. Both displays are pretty sharp, resolution is high. The Samsung tablet has Super AMOLED display, and that means when it comes to watching HDR content, you will get true HDR effect. So that would be the main difference between LCD and OLED. But if you're just using the tablets for drawing, if you're not consuming HDR content, the visible difference is not really that noticeable. Unless you are outdoors. The performance, like the raw performance from the processor is good. I mean, Android tablets nowadays are pretty powerful. So together with the 8 gigs of RAM, you can get pretty good performance, smooth lag-free performance. Anyway, nowadays if you buy a tablet and the performance is not smooth, that is an instant deal breaker, because nowadays you can find tablets with smooth performance easily. Okay, so let me just save this file and switch over to the Xiaomi. So now I'm back to using the Xiaomi tablet. Let's talk about software, the OS. Samsung definitely has the better OS, has more features. More specifically, the feature that I need, that I really miss, that is not available on the Xiaomi tablet, is the Files Manager app does not integrate with Google Drive and OneDrive. Which means if you open Xiaomi File Manager, you cannot just copy and paste a file to Google Drive. If you want to upload a file, you have to open Google Drive or OneDrive or whichever cloud storage service, or maybe Dropbox, and just upload your file from that app. You cannot use Xiaomi File Manager. So that would be the main thing, that main software feature that I really miss, the integration with cloud storage services. Since I've switched back to using this Xiaomi Pen now, the experience is pretty good. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I don't feel like, oh, the Samsung Pen is better. This pen is equally good with pressure performance. So in the comment section, I often see people asking me whether to buy the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro or the Samsung Tab S9 FE, because the pricing is quite comparable. The Galaxy Tab S9 series tablets are obviously more expensive, so the FE tablets are more affordable. I mean, it really comes down to your budget. The drawing experience on all these tablets, on the Samsung tablets is going to be the same. The main reason to buy Samsung really is because there is tilt sensitivity with the brush, and also the OS is better. But if those features are not that important to you, then the Xiaomi tablet actually has better hardware compared to the Tab S9 FE. So back to the Samsung tablet. The latency performance for both pens is quite similar. So latency shouldn't be an issue when it comes to choosing between these two pens. So the finishing point is here. Let me just try and draw that. Wow, it's so noisy now. This pen has a side button. The original S Pen also has a side button, and this side button is customizable depending on the drawing app you use. So for certain apps, you can customize this button to erase, or you can make it a selection tool or some other tool, again depending on the app you use. But for the Xiaomi Pen, unfortunately, the pen buttons are not customizable, even though there are actually three buttons on this pen, but they are not customizable and they cannot be disabled. So that is an inconvenience, because having the side button shortcut can be very convenient at times, especially when you are someone who likes to switch between the brush and eraser. That can be very convenient. Another nice thing about the S Pen is, because it uses Wacom EMR, it's not powered by battery, it doesn't use Bluetooth, so there is no disconnection issue. When you are inside the drawing app, the UI is going to be similar, so it doesn't really matter whether you're using Xiaomi OS or Samsung OS. However, Samsung, they do provide longer software update for their OS and for the system security. So for Xiaomi tablet, I would say just assume there is not going to be any OS updates. But not having OS updates does not mean that your old apps will stop running, or you cannot install any new apps. Your apps will still continue to run. It's just that you won't be able to get new features with their new OS. I am not very particular about coloring within the lines. Sometimes I don't even join the lines properly because when it comes to recording videos outdoors, it's not easy to talk and draw at the same time. Okay, the colors on this LCD does look really good, very vibrant. The OLED display will have even more vibrant colors, but this LCD display, the colors, they look really vibrant to me. The sun is coming in again. That's the sunlight on my hand, and outdoor legibility for the display is actually pretty good. This is under direct sunlight, so it's not too bad. And while I was drawing on the Xiaomi tablet, I don't feel like this is like that warm. I mean, it's warm because it's running at maximum brightness, but it's not like so hot that I cannot put my palm on the display. Back to sketching on the 14.6-inch tablet. So having a huge tablet is going to be great if you are using apps with lots of UI elements. So on this 14.6-inch tablet, I can have palettes on the left and right and still get a good amount of space to work with. But on the smaller 12.4-inch tablet, and this of course will apply to the Tab S9 Plus as well, I usually just have one palette by the side. I cannot open two palettes by the side. The downside to a big tablet is gonna be the weight. So right now I'm holding the tablet like this and I'm resting my hand on my leg, and even so it's quite tiring. So I can only hold this position for a very short time. So for 12.4-inch tablets and above, those are what I would consider desktop type tablets. You have to place the tablet on some sort of support. Yeah, on the table, on your lap, just on some sort of support. Both displays are laminated, so when you're drawing, there is no gap between the line and the pen tip. The line will always look as if it's coming out from directly beneath the pen tip. Today's date is 29th of May, 2024. Oh, by the way, if you guys have intention to buy any tablets or tablet accessories, do consider making a purchase through the affiliate links that I have for you in the video description below to support my YouTube channel and the work that I do here. So this is the completed sketch drawn on both the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro and the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. So this is without the colors. This is just the line art. I cannot see any difference between the pen quality of the Xiaomi Focus Pen and the Samsung S Pen when it comes to pressure sensitivity level. So both pens are very sensitive and great at creating line art, and definitely good enough for creating professional illustration. But the advantage will go to the Samsung S Pen because it has tilt sensitivity. Oh, the battery life for both tablets is pretty good. For the Xiaomi tablet, I can get around 8 to 10 hours. It's slightly lower with the Ultra, maybe 7 to 9 hours, depending on auto brightness, of course. So if I use the tablet at maximum brightness, like what I'm doing so outdoors, the battery life, of course, will be much shorter, maybe around 5 hours or so. But the battery life really varies a lot depending on the brightness of the display. All I have to say is the battery life for both tablets is pretty good. Alright, so which tablet would I recommend? Well, I can't decide for you, so you guys decide based on the findings that I have presented, based on the features that you like, and also based on how much you are willing to spend. Both tablets are pretty good, so you decide. See you guys in the next video. Bye! So if you're not sure whether you are affected, it's best to look at the tablets yourself in person at a store.